Okay.
So thank you very much, Zach, Four-Eyed Piper, for joining me
Awesome. Well,
today.
thanks for having me. This is excellent.
Just start off by telling me, I forget, what part of the States are you in? Are you at?
I live in New York State, so Western New York, though. So, when you tell people you live in New York State, they assume you live in the city.
Mhm.
But I live kind of in the northwestern part of the state, near like Buffalo, Rochester, New York.
Okay, so you're a good 5 hours behind me anyway, but the name Four-Eyed Piper, I always ask about the origin of names. Fairly obvious, I guess, but is there any deeper hidden meaning to it all?
No, I think everyone, when they come to YouTube and they're checking out the YouTube pipe community, there's 99% of people are something Piper. So, of course, big part of my persona is my spectacles. So I'm not wearing them today. It's super bright out here today. It's a really nice day in New York, but
Looks nice.
I have to have the spectacles around, and it's just I've always worn big glasses, and it's always been a part of my look. So I figured makes sense.
Just own it. You're owning it, buddy. That's
I'm
good.
owning it. I tried contacts for a while. It just didn't suit me, and I just look weird. Like I should get like glasses tattoos or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Just so when I'm sleeping, I look like myself.
I wear glasses sometime or a lot of the time, but I have astigmatism, which means I can't get contact lenses.
Mhm.
God damn it. But I think I'd wear glasses anyway. Yeah.
Well, I like my Ray-Bans. They're fashionable. And you had Rory on here the other day, and it got me thinking about different colors of glasses that I would love to have.
Mm. That man has
uh,
about 20 pairs of the same frame, but different colors, I think.
exactly. Man after my own heart. I like it.
So what pipe are you smoking today, and what are you smoking in it?
So, I figured today, since we're meeting each other for the first time, more or less, and you're my new Irish pal, I figured I'd break in one of my new Irish pipes, and it's my Peterson Newgrange silver spigot. It's more of it's kind of a dressy pipe, but
Look
one
at it.
that I always loved the look of.
Is it
My
smooth around the top of the bowl there? Is that
Yeah,
smooth?
it's
It is.
beautiful. The rim is absolutely gorgeous in the kind of dark brown stain. And then I love the stem work on this. It's almost like a fake Cumberland,
Mhm.
kind of a brindle stem. So
Mm.
beautiful. And, in that spirit of kind of like smoking something a little special, I broke out what I have left of my shortcut to mushrooms, which
Oh,
is, I don't
gone.
know if you've heard of that, but it's gone, 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 probably what, 3 years out or something. And this
Yeah.
is it. This is all I have left. So I figured, I'm going to smoke something absolutely delicious today in my brand new pipe with you.
Lovely. Perfect. That's a beautiful, beautiful pipe. So that's the very first smoke. That's
First smoke. It's a good
it's a
way to break it in, I suppose.
beautiful pipe. Absolutely beautiful, and a fantastic tobacco to use to break it in. So welcome. First of all, just wanted to say I'm glad for you that your recent surgery you had been talking about on your channel has been a success.
Yeah, it's
Um,
been fantastic. This is the second time I've gone through the same surgery, unfortunately. But I'm feeling good. It's the sun is shining. I don't have any pain. Might be getting a little bit of wind noise. I apologize because it's just springtime in Western New York. But I'm
right.
feeling very good. And wait till the gust passes. Yeah, Western New York. Feeling good. No, I very successful. When I woke up from surgery, I sprung on my feet and was ready to go. So that's a good sign. But I do have to tell myself to slow down, and it's just one of my unfortunate flaws. I'm just always go, go, go. So
Are you meant to be in bed, strictly speaking, still, or were you
no,
out of
no,
it?
I'm probably doing more than I should, but no, I'm resting. I'm doing okay. I'm following doctor's orders, so
Good.
it's all good.
You should, but no, it's good. I mean, with anything to do with the back, you're obviously worried that you're going to wake up and it's going to be worse than it was before you went in. But to hear that it seems to have solved itself, that or the doctors have solved it, that's fantastic news. That's great to
Thank
hear.
you.
Just the usual questions. Then I'm going to ask you. I know you have a love affair with Peterson pipes. How did that start then? Or
So I really didn't start collecting Peterson pipes until about maybe a year ago, and I've been smoking a pipe for about 4 or 5 years now. Been with the YTPC for like 3, and always was drawn to the aesthetic of Peterson pipes, but I just couldn't get my hands on any.
okay,
And so through just kind of like the channels that you go through in the YTPC, just traded and, schemed and found myself a nice old Peterson system pipe. And when I started smoking that pipe, I just realized just how in love I was with the aesthetic of the pipes. And then similarly, almost around the same time, my wife, who is she's got a history degree, bachelor's in history, and she has Irish heritage. And we went to a Celtic arts conference, and I met up with some folks, and this was in the States here in New York. I met up with artists and scholars and folks who are going to this Celtic arts conference. And I brought one of my Peterson pipes, and it just kind of like, no one else was smoking a pipe at the time. But it just kind of was a conversation piece. And I started talking about, my history and my surname and my connection to Celtic culture. And, it kind of stirred something in me a little bit. So I started kind of pursuing it from there. So that's where it all started. And I just have kind of continued on for the last year and a half or so collecting. So.
Excellent. And I watched your video and you were talking about the Irish scholar that you met at this Celtic. So then you got to share some pipes with him and hear about his history as well. Very interesting. That's fantastic. And so you've only really started collecting Peterson pipes, but you've already pulled the trigger on probably one of the biggest purchases any pipe collector,
Yeah, I think it just goes to show like how I deal with my hobbies, and by hobbies I mean obsessions. So I kind of just go pedal to the metal, and now I'm kind of starting to slow down.
Yeah. So folks, Zach has bought himself a silver Spicket, amber stemmed, beautiful Peterson pipe. I know how much they cost in the UK. So
I was lucky enough to kind of through the YTPC get a little bit better deal than you'd get on GQ tobacco.
Good.
Like that. So
that's great. And your better half must be very understanding as well. Yeah.
She is very blessed in that way. She's been on a few of my pipe videos. Now it's years ago almost. But I'm going to invite her on at some point to maybe talk a little bit. She calls herself the pipe widow because I get taken away from my otherwise marital duties by obviously the obsession. So I'll invite her on and have her talk a little bit about it too at some point.
That's good. Yeah. Would she ever consider trying a pipe herself, do you think?
We've attempted that, and it's just not her thing. She loves the aesthetics of it. Obviously she supports me, and she loves the art of it, I guess, and rituals and those types of things, but she's just not a pipe smoker.
She's more of a cigar girl, isn't she?
Something like that.
Yeah, just the Monte Cristos for her, number 2. She's the real one who's breaking the bank, not you.
That's it. Her,
the other silly questions then I have to get by just about your favorite tobaccos. Your desert island discs, as we call it here, your desert island blend. So if you had to choose 3 that you're only allowed to smoke 3 tobaccos for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's a really good question, because I've been asking myself that lately. I've been kind of thinning out my cellar, so to speak. I again went just crazy in acquisition
in every direction.
A lot of us do. So I had tins upon tins upon tins of tobacco, until recently, like over 200 open jars of tobacco. And so I had kind of like pipe tobacco ADD for just too long. And I never really zeroed in on what I really loved. But recently I've been kind of trying to get down to those like 10 or 15 blends that would make the most sense for me to cellar and that are easily obtainable and all the rest. So for me, my number one, kind of my everyday smoke right now, even though it's a little bit tougher to find, is Robert McConnell Red Virginia. I really love that. It's so good. It kind of brings me back to the McClellan 5100 in a way, but obviously that's no longer available.
Yeah.
So that's my everyday blend. So if I had to pick one tobacco, that'd be my one tobacco.
Just to interrupt, have you tried the Cornell and Dale small batch, the Red Virginias?
I have, and for
What do
some
you think?
reason, it's not my favorite. Actually, I had like 6 or 7 tins of it, and I just passed those on to somebody else. So
Yeah. Is it the one? Is it just the Virginia, or is it the with per rake Virgin?
For the Robert McConnell?
No, sorry, the small batch, the small batch Cornell and Dale. Did you try?
Virginia.
Yeah.
Just the Carolina Red Flake, I think it was called.
Yes, that's it. But so they're not very similar at all then?
I don't find them to be. Maybe it's the varieties or where it's grown, or I haven't researched it enough to know, but the Robert McConnell tends to be just that really nice deep sweetness that I really crave in a Red Virginia, but it's also got kind of that vinegary tartness in the background that doesn't overwhelm it. So that's, to my palate, I think just the pinnacle right now for Red Virginias.
Beautiful. And blend number 2 then?
So Boswell Northwoods would definitely be up on the list in the top 3 somewhere.
Okay.
Have you tried that?
No.
You've got to get your hands on some. I'll try to get some out to you. You'd love it.
Is it in English?
It is an English blend, but similarly to Shortcut to Mushrooms, it's got Black Cavendish in there, so it's very sweet. And the Latakias in it are super, super sweet. So it's not abrasive.
Yeah. Okay.
I know you don't smoke a ton of Latakia blends, right?
It's not so much the Latakia, it's more the Turkish I don't like. I think anyway, it's the Orientals. Is there any in it in Boswell's?
I don't think so. I think it's a Virginia Burley. It's got Black Cavendish and Latakia in it, so it's quite good. So I'll make sure you get some so you can put your 2 cents in on it.
Yeah. Well, we can do an exchange. So number 1 then. Your number 1 slot, or?
Well, I would say the Robert McConnell is like the number 1. So I kind of started backwards.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the number 1 blend. So Northwoods, Robert McConnell, Red Virginia. The third one, maybe the Peterson Flake. Now the old Dunhill Flake that is now produced by Peterson.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe the Peterson Irish Flake is really good to me too. I really like that.
It's quite a hefty blend. Yeah.
It is. I really like the Kentucky in it though.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you just crave that with a cup of coffee or something like that. So those are my blends for sure.
I smoked that a long time ago when I wasn't used to strong blends. And recently I've been smoking like a lot of like old dark fired and Bull Kentucky and Gawith dark flake, and so I'd like to see what I think of it now. So now that I'm used to Kentucky. So yeah.
You've been talking a lot on the channel about smoking a lot of the Gawith and Hogarth blends and the Granny's Panties blends, and I really have to make my way back to that because earlier on, similar like to what you're saying, I kind of just was turned off to that flavor, and it just takes you a little while to maybe come back around, and I've got a few years under my belt now since I've smoked it, so to give those blends another try.
I was like that too. I loved it when I came back to it. When I first tried Ennerdale Flake, it was fucking horrible, to be honest. I was like, what the hell is this? And it just something happened. It just grows on you. See, if you give it a chance, it just takes over your life. But then it's a whole another tributary of, it's another direction to go into, and there's all sorts of different types of lakeland blends, and there's one Bosun plug which I'm obsessed with at the minute. It's got some clove oil in it, and it's not very perfumey or rosy or geraniumy, so it's more kind of sweet and clovey. Yeah.
I'm not a anise fan too much, but there's something special that happens with like anise oil and tobacco. So I wonder if the clove oil in there just has that kind of like special quality, like you would find similar.
Yep. It's a mainly Virginia blend, or in fact it is just straight Virginia, so it really complements the sweetness of the Virginias. So yeah, I'm obsessed with them.
I didn't ask you what you're smoking now, or what your pipe is there. Ask you.
This is actually one Uncle Phil passed to me because he wasn't smoking it, and it's a H Core Hussein Core Meerschaum. Really, really, really beautiful pipe. He said he simply wasn't smoking it, so he's a madman. But in it, I'm smoking Gawith Brown Flake, so it's another Lakeland. So it's a Virginia Burley. I think there's no Kentucky in this, but it's got like, we have a confectionery in the UK called Turkish Delight, which is the Turkish.
Sure.
So it's rose, kind of sweet rose. Yeah. That's exactly what it smells and tastes like. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's lovely though.
The description is not drawing me in, I have to tell you.
You'll have to try it. So going by that video of a few videos ago, you were trying to get rid of some stuff, or just like you say, you're trying to zone in on your favorites. So you're getting rid of some excess stock you had. Going by that, like you must have a huge cellar.
I do, and I still do have quite a cellar. Yeah. In fact, it was just getting to the point where there's areas of my house where I couldn't go. Well, it's not really a healthy place to be with something such as tobacco.
No,
yes, I really did need to purge quite a bit. And, I have kids now. I have 2 young kids. And when the tobacco cellar interferes with my storage of their toys, then you just got to ask yourself some questions at that point. Like, what are you doing? So, and I really, I enjoy the hunt of the hobby. Any hobby that I'm in, I just enjoy the hunt of those rare things, whatever it is, McClellan blends and things like that. So eventually the hunt becomes just hoarding, and then it's not healthy. You're not going to enjoy it as much, So I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't in the mix here in the YTPC, and I was, just wasn't in a good place with where I want to be with my tobacco adventure, So
yeah,
time to start fresh and purge out. And there was a lot of folks who responded to that and really, I think, benefited from the purge. So that's good. And some folks got some good stuff. So
yep,
really,
that's great. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a different chapter of your life now, and you can't really start. I was going to say, do you want to get the kids smoking a pipe, and that'll help you get rid of it? But that can't really be done. It's not 1970,
They're going to be like 7 or 8 before that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it's good that you got rid of it, or what you needed to anyway.
I'm good. My wife is much happier, that's for sure.
So recently I've seen you smoking some Frogmorton on the Town or Frogmorton Cellar stuff. Do you have many other McClellan's blends that you've held on to in your cellar then? Or
I don't actually. Nearly all of my McClellans have flown the coop. So I kept the things that, just the open jars that I had of McClellan. And I saved 1 tin of 40th anniversary for myself for maybe my 40th anniversary or something. I don't know. But I've let everything else go. And I think I feel better about it. There was a time where like I felt a lot of value in like I just have this like smog over his like pile of gold or whatever, but wasn't doing any good. So I do have quite a few blends jarred that I have a significant amount of that I can enjoy for years to come. But that's the only actual intact tin that I kept.
I thought I was bad having like 30 jars. Seriously though, I thought, oh Jesus, I've got these 30 blends and you're talking hundreds. That's amazing though. It's really amazing.
I think I came to the YTVC in a very interesting time. There was a lot of folks who had been around for a while, and then like I was kind of this like weird kid that just like showed up on the scene, and people were very generous with me. I think that's kind of a theme that we see with a lot of presenters. But I started doing live streams when I think like a lot of the live streams hadn't been done in a while, and so I was, I'd have 50 people in a live stream just talking about different tobaccos and stuff. People just want to send and send and send, and I at some point I had to kind of like cut it off. But over the course of that, I sent out so much tobacco. Like in 2019, I sent out over 100 packages to folks in the YTBC. And it became like I had to like almost quit my job just to like be part of the YTBC because there was this warehouse exchange going on in my house. So I've sent out so much and I still had so much here. So it's getting to the point where it's beyond the material aspect of the hobby and more about the relationships. It's always been about the relationships, but I'm so happy to be interacting with you and interacting with folks that I've never met before. That we've got the world across to cross to just have a pipe together. But luckily, via technology, we can still do that. So
it's great.
What I'm focusing on.
I have to agree. The staff at the local post office think I'm an international drug dealer.
Absolutely.
They're giving me weird looks, and then they never used to ask. And they're fairly relaxed in this country anyway, but they've started asking me now, like, what's in it? Like as if I'm gonna come clean, Oh, it's heroin,
Well, I think about like if they run an X-ray over the packages that I'm sending out, it might look a little weird with all these baggies.
Yeah. But I always just I always say fishing tackle or something like that,
Hobby supplies.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. Let's see. So I know you had a hiatus from smoking of the pipe for about 6-month period. Was there any particular reason or what made you?
No, I think I just get busy with my work, and I don't smoke a pipe every day. If I smoke 2 pipes in a day, it's usually a big deal for me. So I never feel incredibly drawn to smoke. I love it and I enjoy the flavors and I enjoy the time. It's more about the time and the kind of introspection and then making the videos and that kind of thing. So I just occasionally I'll go like a month or 2 and then I just stretched out a little bit. I just got busy and no particular reason, just kind of lost interest for a little while or just kind of went on the back burner. So,
just natural causes then. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's grand.
And not to mention, 2020 was a hell of a year for a lot of us. And I work in grocery retail. So I was just battling COVID and trying to understand how I could exist in this world that we've created around ourselves over the last 12 months. So
you would have been busier then over this last year.
Busy, yeah, absolutely. And all of the interruptions with just having enough staff to go on, with people being sick and being scared of even coming out of their homes, and just business changed quite a bit. I think for everyone in how we receive our goods at homes. Even me, I order my groceries to be delivered to my house now, just because it's it's just easier. And now we do that. So it's just an interesting, different world. So just trying to, digest that over the last year has been different, and, focusing on my family too, obviously.
Yeah. What's the what age are your children? Are they still too young for school at the moment, or?
My son will go to kindergarten next year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's 4, and my daughter just turned 3 in February.
Yeah. So all the children, I think it's in the UK, go back on Monday, I think. So they've all been off. Yeah. So they're starting to bring schools back. So I know a lot of relieved parents. All my friends who have children are very relieved.
I'm sure there's a lot of mixed feelings though too, with just how much interaction, and how many people they come in contact with too. But I can only imagine having kids home for so long, and
hard going. Yeah, it can put a lot of pressure on relationships, being cooped up in a house together all that time as well. I mean,
it's been a long winter. Let's just say that.
That's why you need dogs, so you can take your dogs for a walk. So, do you have any pets?
I don't. Actually, I was watching your video going down to the Giants ring with your dogs. So I need some pets, although I feel like I have pets sometimes because there's mess on the floor and cleaning up blood or hair or something going half the time. But no, I don't have any pets right now.
Just wait till the kids are a bit older and they start asking for those a puppy for Christmas.
I'll get them one just so I can send them out to walk the dog. Just get out of here, walk the dog.
Yeah. Daddy needs 20 minutes to smoke a pipe. Go and walk the dog.
Absolutely. No, I've been really enjoying your channel. My wife has a history degree, and she's been to Ireland. My sister-in-law, when she was studying in college, was on an archaeological dig on Achill Island, and so they have a big connection with the land. And my wife and I have been talking about coming overseas for the last couple of years. In fact, we were going to pull the trigger and go last spring, and of course the world ended. So we're trying to decide when it would be a good time for us to come over and spend a couple of weeks in Ireland. So really enjoying your channel because we get to have a little glimpse and a little show and tell of some places that maybe we'd want to visit as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more of that outdoorsy stuff, hopefully, and as the weather warms up and lockdown opens up a bit. So at least if you don't get over for a while, I'll keep you posted with what's going on.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, lockdown's been hard on all of us. The YTPC has been a brilliant resource for me, and I'm sure for you as well. And it's fantastic.
Absolutely. It's been nice to just speak with adults after being locked up in the house with no one to talk to. So it's been huge, very big for us. Absolutely.
Great. Now, let's see. Yes. So I've only smoked a clay pipe a couple of times. You've had some really good experiences with them, haven't you? I've heard you use the word Nirvana. There's some Nirvana smokes with clay pipes then. So
I have, yes, absolutely. There's a pipe distributor that is only a couple hours from my home, who's one of the biggest distributors of clay pipes in the United States. And there's been a few other folks in the YTPC, including Bradley at Stuff and Things, Mel Harris. There's been a lot of folks who have actually received pipes from this gentleman. And he sent me a couple pipes to try out. And I'll tell you what, it was very interesting. It's a totally different smoking experience. So you have to really gear yourself to slowing down your cadence.
Yeah.
Really, even just how you hold the pipe is totally different. So but there's certain blends that absolutely would be fantastic to taste in a clay pipe, and that's one of the reasons why I really like having a clay pipe around. It's a great tasting pipe. Similarly to Meerschaum, it doesn't ghost. But you do have to be very, very gentle with it because you can easily scorch the tobacco or scorch yourself with a clay pipe.
Is it just the traditional, the smaller shapes the guy's making, or the wee
No,
cutty?
he has those, but he has the longer, I guess what you would consider a church warden, but longer stem pipes, different finishes and things that they do on that. And it's essentially like, pottery, like fired pottery with glaze, different glazes on them. So
Nice.
very interesting. It's
Yeah.
so I can do a little shout out. It's Penn Valley Pipes. So if you search that out, that's the gentleman who distributes the pipes.
Yep. Remind me after, and maybe I'll put the link in the bucket. Penn Valley Pipes. Then, yeah, that'd be great. See, you also have a couple of meerschaums as well, do you? Or how many meerschaums do you have?
I have one meerschaum. Actually, that's not true. I have two Peterson meerschaums that need to be refurbished. And I was just looking at sending those out to Rick at Briarville to do a little cleanup on them. And one of them needs a band put on. So I haven't smoked those. I only have one meerschaum pipe that I've actually smoked. So I just started smoking that earlier this month for, meerschaum madness, as we say in YDPC. It's just a little apple, no name kind of meerschaum. I don't really have any exceptional meerschaums to speak of.
Have you heard of the mortar pipes as well? The bog oak. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I actually just received a kind of a beginner mortar pipe. I ordered Mr. Brog. It's I think it's Hungarian or Danish. I'm not sure where they're operated out of, but
I thought they were American, the Mr. Brog.
Maybe they are.
I always assumed they were. No, I'm not sure. I just assumed they were, maybe, but
I'm not certain about it. But I ordered one of their mortar pipes, and pretty inexpensive pipe maker. I think they kind of have off the wall pipes, just different shapes and styles that you don't find other places. But they traditionally make most of their pipes out of pear wood, so they're pretty inexpensive. In the U.S. you can get them for right around $50 US, and they go up from there. But the mortar pipe that I ordered was very inexpensive. I think they're discontinuing the lines, so you can find them even on Amazon right now. You can order them through Amazon.
Right.
So I smoked that the other day, and it actually smoked phenomenally well.
Yep.
I was very surprised at the quality, and it was a filtered pipe, which is cool, 9mm filter.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, or it seems like it has similar properties to meerschaum as well. Like,
yep, it won't ghost. Yep.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Do you have any mortas in your collection?
Yes, one actually. It's kind enough to. There's another pipe that was given to me by John Pounder. Dale pipe.
Yeah.
So he gave it to me last week. I'm gonna make a video about it this coming week. It's fantastic. I smoked it for the first time a couple of days ago, and I was convinced that I was smoking another blend, and I was just picking up on things that I'd never picked up on that tobacco before.
Wow.
And so it was like having a brand spanking new meerschaum. So yeah, it has all the qualities of meerschaum, but if you drop it, it won't break. So
right,
even better.
I think the material is very interesting. Obviously, that it's I think somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 year old wood that's been reclaimed from these bogs. It's just interesting.
It's mad.
It's neat to have that in your collection.
Yeah. So I think the so it's kind of halfway to coal, isn't it? Or charcoal, basically, isn't it? It's like it's mad. It's mad, but it feels like a very lightweight stone. It's very strange wood, but I would recommend.
I was surprised at how light this pipe is.
Oh, we've lost your
It's like
audio.
double the size of this.
Sorry, we lost your audio for a second there, but I've got you back now.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so the mortar pipe that I ordered is like double the size of this pipe, but it weighs about the same. It's incredibly light, and I think there's just a lot of airspace within the wood,
Yeah.
a lot of negative space within the wood. So that's again probably why it smokes similarly to meerschaum, because it's so porous.
Yeah. Beautiful looking pipes as well. There's another Polish carver called Polinsky. I'll if I remember, I'll send you the eBay link. But the currency exchange is very good for us, and probably for you guys as well. So
yeah,
get yourself a mortar for next to nothing. But do you have any preference on lighting your pipes? Do you use matches, lighters, or have you any old boy lighters or anything special? Is it Z-Car, is it?
Yeah, it's a Z-Car that I've used for forever. In fact, this was from, I won this in the Danny Shore raffle years ago when they did the benefit for Danny Shore. He was a prominent YTPC member who, unfortunately passed away.
Okay.
So I used this for a long, long time. You probably lost my audio there for a second.
Yep. But we've got you back.
So I use a pipe Zippo from time to time. I do have a Corona, one of the the golden roller lighters that I really like, and one of the old boy style Peterson lighters, of course, is in my collection. I just really like that lighter as well. But this is kind of my workhorse lighter. I take it everywhere. It lasts forever, and really like this lighter.
I ordered the Peterson Old Boy, and it arrived, and I filled it up, and it was leaking gas.
Oh, that's no good.
I know, it was disappointing. And then I phoned the the people who sold it to me, and they weren't very good about it. So it kind of left a sour note. So I just sent it back, and I haven't replaced it, but I probably will one day. Either that or get one of the original, the Corona Old Boys, remortgage the house and get one.
Sell my youngest child.
Yeah, take it, please.
Might have enough.
Did you mess around with any other? I know in the States, dip and chew and all that. We don't have that kind of. We have the Swedish equivalent, the snooze, which is like a little tea bag full. It doesn't make you salivate quite as much, so you don't have to spit. But did you ever experience with any chew or dip or anything?
I never was drawn to that at all. I smoked cigarettes for a number of years, and quit smoking when I met my wife. So we've been together 10 years now. So 10 years off the cigarettes, never chewed or did any of that kind of stuff at all. It wasn't appealing to me whatsoever. I know there's some people who do that, and that's fine. It's just not my style.
So, I mean, if you read into the ingredients, there's very, very, very strict EU regulatory laws on the snooze, which relieves quite a lot. Which, what's the word? They have to cut out quite a lot of the natural carcinogens, whereas the American stuff, it's apparently it's just much more likely to give you problems or issues with your gums and teeth and lips.
I think it's similar to our cigarette tobacco. There's just so many additives in it. But I think that's what draws me to this so much more than smoking cigarettes anymore. It's so much more purely tobacco. The times things are just cased with maple sugars or something like that, which just makes more sense to me. Absolutely.
Yeah. Snuff, is snuff a thing in the States? Do people snort snuff?
I know of some YTPC members that do a little snuff from time to time. I've never seen it sold in the United States.
Even in tobacconists, even in the tobacco places?
And maybe it's just not in New York State, but certainly I've never seen it. And I think, Derek Tant, the mayor of the YTPC, he does a little bit of snuff from time to time. He talks about it on his channel. And I believe he does order it from overseas when he does get it. So I don't know that we do sell it here in the United States.
Yeah.
Or if we do for limited quantities.
Yeah. It was all the best stuff comes from England. It's That's how the Galwith, Samuel Galwith started. They were a snuff factory before they branched out into making tobacco. So, well, tobacco,
Interesting.
snuff is tobacco and tobacco is snuff. But
Right.
yeah, so that's cool. Let's see. Do you have? Are you big into your freehands as well, or is there any particular pipe carvers that you're into at the moment, or?
Um, one, Jay Mouton. I don't know if you've seen his channel on the YTPC, but I will tell you what, I own one of his pipes, and it is probably the best smoking pipe in my collection that is a hand carved pipe.
Really? Yeah.
Absolutely. And his attention to detail is just absolutely spectacular. The things that he can do with a piece of briar, you would expect somebody to be doing after 20 years of experience. And this guy's been carving for, I think less than 5 years.
Yeah.
He's doing very, very well.
His name is all over the place, and he's really popular these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's so busy just producing commissioned pipes that I don't know that he ever really has a ton of stock to just like sell on a website or go to a pipe show with, because he's in such high demand. So he's just such a nice guy. He's just super, 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 and would give you the shirt off his back. So he also had a neck back surgery maybe a year and a half ago, something like that.
Okay.
And when I put up my videos, he was emailing me like, you should give me a call, we can talk, and if you ever get down or anything like that, just that's the kind
cool.
of guy that he is, even being so busy. So it's not gone to his head, but maybe that's what makes a really amazing artisan, is somebody who is seeking that perfection, but just it never affects them, their popularity or their success. So big shout out to Jay. He's an awesome guy and fantastic carver.
Yeah, I didn't know he'd only been carving for 5 or so years. The way his name is these days, you would think it's 20.
Absolutely.
Like you say. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic pipes. Have you been reading any books? I read a book recently by Rick Newcomb, I think his name is, and it's called In Search of Pipe Dreams. And the guy is very, very fond of all the greats from Denmark, or the Danish the original crew, the Sixten, and then Lars, and what's the daughter called?
Nana,
that's it, yeah. So the Iversons and Bo Nord and what do you call him? Chonowitz, Jess Chonowitz. But he seemed to think, and he says this about 1 million times throughout the book, but that a draft hole should be 4 point, like most carvers will say 4 mil, but this guy's saying 4.7 is fine. 4.6, 4.7, and it makes all the difference. And that's what contributes. That's what makes it a good smoking pipe or not. It doesn't. That's it. Doesn't matter about anything else. But I don't know. I want to see. I want to order a pipe with a 4.7 draft hole and see what it's like. But
I think that's what makes this so interesting, is that certainly there's a bit of your own experience that goes into what you consider a good smoking pipe, but there has to be some mathematical equation to the physics and the engineering of a pipe, right? So that'd be interesting to talk about. I was just actually having this exact conversation with another member of the YTPC, Road King Piper, Eric, and we were talking about draft holes. He's just that kind of, he's got that mind about him. So he's constantly measuring and fiddling with his pipes, just trying to understand them better. And that's not me. I'm more artistically minded person. But that's the cool thing about this hobby, is it meets those two, left brain, right brain thinking, the art of it, the math and the science of it. So
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little too deep to go, but
Has he come to any conclusions that then?
no, we talked about this, I think, yesterday. So it's interesting you brought it up. I'd be interested to know. He has, I actually passed on one of my, a Boswell pipe to him, and that it does have a larger draft hole. And I was curious on the measurement on it because he seemed to think it was just a superior smoking pipe. It does have in my estimation, it has a larger draft hole than most pipes that I own. So I'd be curious to know how close it was to your 4.7.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have another pipe though, which has an absolutely tiny draft hole. Like maybe it's 2 mil, and it's a fantastic smoker. And you could set it down and forget about it. Go to the bathroom and come back, and it's still lit. You know, so it's one of those. So maybe there's bound to be an equation, you know, and who's going to figure it out first? And but then if all the pipes manufactured only to that design, that would be horrible, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. And I think the wide variety of options that we have is good. And the wide variety of blends and smoking styles, and just, you know, that's the nice thing about this hobby, is you find something that suits you and what fits you. So
yeah, absolutely. Have you been to, is there any big pipe shows near where you are?
There's usually the New York Pipe Show, but I've never been to a pipe show. In fact, the first one I was going to go to was scheduled to be in April of last year, and that was, I believe, the Chicago Pipe Show was what we were looking at going to, and unfortunately, it just did not come to be for me. So I'm looking forward to maybe some of the restrictions lifting, so I can get out there and go to a pipe show.
Yeah. No, I haven't been to one either, so it's something I'm very much looking forward to as well. If it ever happens again, if we're ever allowed to see each other ever again. It's just scary though. It is scary.
It's strange. I fear for my kids who have to go to school and stand in glass cubicles near each other, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just it's sad.
Are they having the whole you know, I mean, I've heard different opinions from different people, but having spoken with Rory, who for reasons I won't go into would know a bit more about possibly the future of our entertainment, things like that, but he seems to think that it's just destroyed. There's never going to be any reason why or any feasible way that shows or live shows would be profitable. So that's, I mean, I really don't want to think that that's true, but what do you think?
I'm a huge fan of live performing arts. I did a lot of stage theater as I came up through high school and college and that kind of thing. And I performed in a lot of different venues in New York City and XYZ. Mostly like musical theater is what I did.
All right. Yeah.
So it's devastating to me to think about that not existing anymore, or us having to consume that via a screen, because it just takes away the soul of it, in my opinion. And live music too. You know, I've been in many bands and performed out, and to not have, you know, as a performer, to not have an audience to perform to would just take the joy right out of it. But as a consumer of that media, you know, it's devastating. I think that that's true. I think that if we ever get back to that, it'll be years down the road. But I feel that our society will utilize this technology in such a way that it just won't be feasible to do that again, or you know, no one will have a need to. You know, like I said, I get my groceries at home, so you know, get on Disney Plus and eat my Pop-Tarts that got delivered to my door, and why should I even step outside?
I know, it's so bloody dystopian. It's unreal. It's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
God.
hope we do.
I know. I had a friend that I went to school with, and he went to drama college and all, and did really well, and was living out in Miami and acting and Broadway and shows and things. And he's back now. He's just, and it makes me so depressed to see how, like, he's such an extraordinary person that he isn't depressed about it, you know, or at least he doesn't show that he is. He's just, he's dealing with it, and he's just adapting, and he's getting a job, and he's living back with his parents in his mid-30s, you know. But it's like, it's just, I really, really, really hope it just changes somehow, you know. But it's scary when you see things like that.
We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens during like our summer months, you know, if we find ways to overcome that, you know, and have outdoor, you know, festivals and things like that we normally would look forward to, now that some of the regulations are getting a little looser. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all we can say is we'll see.
Were you a singer, or what instruments do you play?
I sang, played a little guitar and bass, that kind of thing. Never any good. Mostly a singer. Yeah.
You're just being modest. You're just being modest.
No, my wife is an unbelievable singer.
Oh, really?
And we kind of shared that for a few years. We did, you know, a few shows together, that kind of thing. But now it's just, you know, we're old farts. We've got kids, and you know, we don't do that stuff anymore too much. Not for the last couple of years, at least.
Did you do bars in the evenings, or were you doing weddings, or what type of things were you doing?
No, we didn't do weddings or anything like that. But we did, you know, like I said, like a lot of stage theater. We did that together. And yeah, open mic and that kind of thing, just for fun. But I did have a couple bands that I played with, not, you know, not anything that I was gonna, you know, quit my job for, but
Yeah,
you know, just hobby kind of stuff.
yeah. What kind of music?
All sorts. You know, if you'd asked me this like 5 years ago, it'd be a different story. But my taste in music is very all over the place. But right now, I'm kind of into just like real folksy kind of acoustic music. But then I also like gravitate towards like electronic music and like 80s retro kind of retrocore music and that kind of stuff, like real synthy music.
Yeah.
At times too. I'm all over the place. What we would play would be more of in the acoustic kind of, you know, cover band type stuff.
Yeah. I was listening to a bit of Burl Ives earlier on. His song came on it was either Fargo or Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad or something, used that song, The Big Rock Candy Mountain. And then I had to go down the rabbit hole and find out who this guy was, and Burl Ives. Fantastic. Yeah. Have you heard of Arlo Guthrie and his son, or was it his father? The Guthries anyway, but some of your American folk, like the older school American folk, is really good. Like
I'm more of like, I feel like I'm more like new age folk, like grassroots folk music. Maybe not grassroots, but like to give you I don't know if you would be familiar with Fleet Foxes and the Head Parts and that kind of like acoustic-y, but drawing on that kind of the roots of our music, American music, you know.
Yeah, I love the Fleet Foxes. My father actually got me into them, but my dad is like, he knows he knows a lot about music. I had never heard of Death Cab for Cutie. Have you ever heard of those guys?
Yes.
And you know what type of band they are and their audience. And my dad brought me to this show, and we were the two oldest fuckers there, you know, and the rest were like, you know, these kids with emo haircuts. But he he just doesn't give a fuck. He just loves the loads of different types of music.
I like Death Cab for Cutie. That's one of the bands I would have probably been listening to like 5 years ago.
Yeah, fantastic. Really, really good.
Very good.
And there's lots of songs that, especially now, I think I'm a similar age to you. I'm 36. That Well, there you go. We can relate to. He often talks about getting grey and things about biologically getting older and how
Right.
yeah. But some songs are more depressing than others, eh? But
A
no,
little bit's
that's
about dystopian future as well, and they seem to have come
yeah,
to be.
yeah.
Unfortunate.
They had it figured out. Did you ever read any either Brave New World or 1984 or both?
Never. No, I had a choice. I feel like when I came to that grade in school of which books to read, and I avoided those for whatever reason. I never got to read them.
You sensed how depressing they were, and you thought there's no
I
point
just
reading it.
watched people just die inside as they were reading at their desks, so I
Yeah,
avoided it.
yeah. There's no need to read it. I'm going to live through it in 2020 and 2021. So
No, we thought we were going to live through it in 2000 with Y2K. So,
oh yeah,
but the world is going to end the
yeah.
first time for us.
Because all because of the digital calendar. Do you remember that? That
Yeah.
like
The computers were all going to malfunction because they just couldn't handle the 2000.
yeah, your bank, your online, everything's gone. Your money's gone. Whatever capital, even the gold you had buried in the mountains, it's gone. You know. Ah, that's funny. But it is strange how Orwell and I forget the author of Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. They could have called this stuff a long time ago as well. But
Yeah.
I really hope there isn't another COVID as well. Like a lot of people seem to think this is going to be an annual thing. There's going to be SARS 3, SARS 4, SARS 5.
I hope not. But knowing what we know about viruses in the mutation rate, it seems like that it might be one of those things. And the efficacy of our immunization plan, we don't know long term at this point. It's just been churned out. And not to get any, I want to avoid being political in any way.
It's hard. It's really hard these days, isn't it?
In this climate, it's super hard. So it's just, unfortunately, we had to rush into it, and it was the right thing to do, obviously, to produce these vaccines, but we just don't know. It's like, we don't know a lot of things about what we put in our bodies. They come to market so quickly. To have a vaccine be that way as well is just so scary. So
yeah.
I studied to be a nurse, to be honest. I don't know if you knew that about me, but
no,
I went to nursing school, so I have a little bit of a flair for medical sciences. And knowing what I know, which is not a lot, it does seem a little bit more likely than not that we'll see this popping up over and over again.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Scary.
I hope this summer's a good summer. We kick this thing.
I hope you're right. I think we have to remain positive no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And if it all does go to shit, we'll just have to constantly Zoom one another from our little pods.
Yes.
Have you ever attempted to make pipes or hobby blocks or anything like that? Did you get it?
They're terrible abominations that I have a couple of them that I kept that I actually do smoke from time to time. But no, I'm terrible at it. And it really just was kind of like fiddling around with the Dremel tool.
Yeah.
And I ended up being the tool mostly, but no, they were terrible. Terrible.
Well, if you still pick them up, they couldn't be that bad.
Every once in a while, I'll pick up these very oddly shaped pieces of wood, and anyone walking by would just stare and wonder at what I'm doing. But yeah, I have a couple times dabbled in it. I'm not going to become the next great pipe carver, that's for sure.
Right. Well, listen, I've gotten through most of my questions here. I think the other ones I was going to ask were about the about the Irish scholar guy you met, but we've gone through that really. You mentioned your wife. Is it your wife or both of you that have Irish heritage? Obviously,
Yep.
with your surname, it's Celtic heritage. Is that Scotland or Irish or even Welsh?
So my last name is Woolridge, which is actually the best I can find out is more of like a Germanic Britain, that kind of area.
Mhm.
But my grandmother, my mother's side is a carpenter. That's her last name, and she has the most Irish in her line. So I have a little bit, but my wife, her mother's maiden name is Brown, and she's much more Irish than I. But we both trace back generations to Irish heritage.
Mhm. It's excellent. So you will have to come over then, and when you do, you'll have to let me know, just in case you are popping up to the north anyway.
Sounds good. We can get in our hazmat suits and high five each other from a great distance and know one another in the same country for a moment.
I hope not. But listen, we'll end it there. Thank you very much
Well,
for
thank
joining me.
you.
It's been
Nice.
fantastic. So Zach, Four-Eyed Piper, thank you. We'll speak to you again sometime soon. Cheers.
Take care. Cheers.